He was right to speak out. You've been getting involved on X by going to @Sky Sports News. At the moment, it's actually quite tight. I mean, 41% of you think Salah was right to speak out. 59% think it was the wrong idea.
Right, let's get back to that big news this afternoon that Mo Salah was involved in Liverpool training today ahead of their Champions League game against Inter Milan tomorrow. Alan Irwin was at Liverpool's training earlier on. We can join him again now. So, Alan, lots of speculation, of course, but Salah was involved in training. Did it look like business as usual?
It certainly did, and it took maybe many of the media and the hundreds of cameras that were here by surprise. Mo Salah calmly walked out of the changing room area onto the training pitch, and he seemed to stay close to Dominic Szoboszlai more than anybody. Arne Slot was already out on the training pitch. He had a conversation with the players as a group before they began those drills. Salah had been appearing to laugh and joke with Dominic Szoboszlai before the players were put through their paces, really. I say paces, it was a light workout in the 15 minutes that we were allowed to film, but he had a bit of a chat and a laugh with Alexander Isak as the players went to their different workstations, and then he was in a group of players really with Virgil van Dijk, Joe Gomez, Szoboszlai and Alexander Isak and Konate as well. And to be honest with you, it just looked like a normal Monday morning training session. If you'd just landed on the planet, you wouldn't have known that anything had gone on over the course of the weekend. Those explosive comments that created the headlines certainly didn't appear to have caused any problem whatsoever with the players, and it did look a very relaxed session before they actually fly out to Milan, which is later this afternoon. I think it's around about 3:30 that they depart from Liverpool Airport. Now, the fact that Salah was out there training doesn't necessarily mean that he is part of the travelling squad. That will be announced a little bit later, but it appeared to be, as you say, Joe, business as usual.
And Alan, just as I've come to you, just a little bit of news reaching us that Salah is unlikely to travel to Italy with the Liverpool squad to face Inter Milan. We understand that a final decision hasn't yet been made, and despite training this morning, Salah is actually expected to be left out of the squad as things stand. When do you think we'll get confirmation of this, Alan?
Yeah, I think that's a difficult one. We're hearing that as well. Obviously, the football world wanted to see those pictures as to whether Salah was going to be on the training pitch today. Yes, that has happened, but as I say, it doesn't necessarily mean that he will be part of the travelling squad. There may well have been a meeting this morning because Mo Salah arrived about 9:30. Arne Slot was already here at 8:30. They may well have had a showdown meeting following the explosive outburst from Mo Salah after the game on Saturday. We await now to hear whether he has been disciplined and whether he's going to be left out for his own good, really, of travelling to Milan. Let's remember that there is only one more game after the Inter game tomorrow that Mo Salah can play in before he departs Liverpool to go to Morocco for the African Cup of Nations, where he's likely to be absent for around about a month. So Arne Slot may well be thinking, well, I've managed without you for the last 3 games. We haven't lost any of those matches. We have to plan to be without you for the course of the best part of the rest of December and the best part of January too. Then, that is the situation as it lies, that Salah will not be part of the squad. So we will wait to hear whether he's going to travel to Milan, whether it's part of a disciplinary process that Arne Slot has instigated remains to be seen, or whether he just feels it would be better for him not to be part of the Liverpool playing squad.
Well, we are going to start Lunchtime Live by getting straight to Liverpool training. You can see there Mohamed Salah. Let's cross to our reporter Alan Irwin, who is there for us. Alan, good afternoon to you.
Yeah, good afternoon. The pictures that the world's media have been waiting to see. Mo Salah is out and preparing to train with Liverpool this afternoon. As you saw, he did arrive at the training ground around about 9:30 this morning. The manager had already arrived at 8:30. and Mo Salah drove into the training ground about an hour later, and whether he's had that meeting with the manager beforehand remains to be seen. But what is certainly clear is that Mo Salah is out and is ready to train with Liverpool this afternoon ahead of them travelling to Milan for the Champions League fixture against Inter, which takes place tomorrow evening. There was some doubt as to whether Mo Salah would actually be part of Liverpool's squad that does travel to Italy later, but it does appear to be the case. As you can see here, Mo Salah with a football at his feet, something that didn't happen to him on Saturday at Elland Road when he was an unused substitute, and following that 3-3 draw with Leeds United in the Premier League at the weekend, there was an astonishing outburst and some very cutting words from Mo Salah when he spoke to journalists after the game had concluded, and words that were certainly chosen to have an impact, and words that really have increased pressure surely on manager Arne Slot, under maybe many would feel enough pressure given Liverpool's poor start to this Premier League campaign, where they have already lost 6 matches. Mohamed Salah doesn't very often speak to the media, we should remember that, and when he does, it tends to be when he really needs to, and he chooses his time and he chooses his words carefully, and fairly certain that he knows what the headlines will be. Rarely speaking to the media, but when it's important, he does so. That approach, though, was really taken to maybe a new level altogether with those explosive comments that came after the game. He claimed that the relationship with his manager had broken down. It was really a challenge to Arne Slot's authority at the club, as the form that the team have displayed continues to worry fans. Many players underperforming and nowhere near the levels that brought them the title last season, but Mo Salah feeling that he's been made the scapegoat and left out of the side for the last 3 Premier League matches, and an unused sub altogether, of course, at the weekend. He feels, in his words, he's been thrown under the bus by manager Arne Slot. You would imagine that there has been a meeting between the two. Certainly, we understand that Mo Salah was here yesterday, Sunday, following the game on Saturday at Leeds. Maybe a warm-down session with players that weren't actually utilised over the course of the weekend. But you can see he's out there doing the initial training ahead of this game against Inter over in Italy. Tomorrow, Arne Slot will also be talking to the media. That will come later on this afternoon after the club arrive in Milan. He will hold a press conference around about 6:45 our time. So it'll be interesting to see what Arne Slot has to say on the situation, because there's no doubt that they will be the first questions posed to the Liverpool manager. Mo Salah, of course, such an important player for Liverpool over his time at the club, having won 2 Premier League titles, the Champions League, the FA Cup and the League Cup as well, scoring 250 goals. In the Premier League, he scored 188 goals and provided 88 assists. These are record numbers, and all that, 420 appearances in all, and registering those 250 goals in total. He's 3rd on Liverpool's all-time list of goal scorers behind Ian Rush and Roger Hunt. But certainly this season, time has looked as though it's beginning to catch up with Mo Salah, who's 33 now, and it wasn't really a surprise when Arne Slot dropped him to the bench for the 2-0 win at West Ham United last weekend. His form has certainly not been up to his brilliant levels. Maybe he is human after all, but his form has certainly not been up to the levels that he has been used to and the Liverpool fans have seen in the past. And I suppose that goes for a number of the players as well, and maybe that's the feelings that Mo Salah wanted to echo at the weekend when he chose to stop and talk to journalists at Elland Road. He was named the PFA Players Player of the Year, wasn't he, for last season, after scoring 29 goals and adding those 18 assists, picking up the Golden Boot and helping Liverpool to the title, of course. But a little bit different this season with Liverpool's drop in form. But Mo Salah out there going through his initial paces, a gentle warm-up before they get down to the serious business. They'll train here for around about an hour or so before they head off to the airport and take that aircraft that will land in Milan a little bit later this afternoon. But these are the pictures that everyone was interested to see. Would Mo Salah be on the training pitch with Liverpool today following the explosive comments from the weekend? And as you can see, he is out there being put through his paces before they head off to Milan for what is a very important game for Liverpool, isn't it, in the Champions League, given that they lost the last game against PSV at Anfield by 4-1. And Milan, of course, are riding high in the Serie A, top of the table at the moment, on the back of a 4-0 win at the weekend. And they have won 4 of their 5 Champions League fixtures so far, only losing the last one at Atletico Madrid. So will Salah be part of the squad? It certainly looks that way. He's out there training. Will he be part of the starting 11? Will he be in that starting 11 that takes to the pitch at the San Siro tomorrow evening? Those questions, of course, will be posed to Arne Slot a little bit later on, but Mo Salah is out there and looks as though he's enjoying it so far, Joe.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he, Alan? Because actually, I was just going to say about the body language. If we hadn't known what had happened at the weekend with those comments, you'd be looking at Mo Salah and thinking absolutely nothing had happened, because he looks very relaxed. He looks like he's smiling, enjoying himself. And that, to me, is very interesting to see.
Yeah, I think we're all taken aback, really, by that, because most of the Liverpool squad all seem to be in fine spirits, despite this drop in form that we've talked about endlessly, I suppose, throughout the course of the season. But there doesn't seem to be any animosity out there between Mo Salah and his fellow teammates. We haven't seen him in close proximity to the Liverpool manager as yet. Arne Slot was one of the first out onto the training pitch around about 10 minutes ago, before the players filtered out one by one. Szoboszlai and Kerkez were the first couple of players out, along with goalkeeper Alisson Becker. But yeah, the mood seems quite relaxed, doesn't it, there for Liverpool and the whole squad. Plenty of smiles, looking quite jovial ahead of what is a very big game for them. In fact, they're all big games at the moment, but with 3 games remaining in the Champions League group phase, Liverpool need to try and ensure that they can finish in one of those automatic top 8 spots to avoid a playoff. Should they finish outside of the top 8 and in the 16 places below. So Mo Salah, all smiles. Plenty of the players seem to be enjoying it so far. They've moved a little bit further away, which we thought would be the case. We're allowed to film the opening quarter of an hour or so of this training session under Champions League regulations, and all cameras focused on one man in particular, a man who signed a new contract, of course, with Liverpool last season, a man who doesn't speak to the media very often. In fact, if you recall, the last time he probably made his feelings known to journalists who are waiting in what is known as the mix zone after a game. Players aren't obliged to stop and talk to journalists, but some choose to do so, and that was certainly the case at the weekend when Mo Salah chose his words very carefully and was there for quite some time. I'm sure you all have seen the interview now in full, and Mo Salah certainly making his feelings known and creating the headlines over the course of the weekend. So he clearly had something to say. He got it off his chest, and I suppose what we want to know now is what has been said between the manager and Mo Salah himself, because it would certainly seem to be something that needs to be resolved if Liverpool are to actually improve and make progress this season.
Right, there's only one place to start, though, isn't there, this morning? That explosive interview from Liverpool's Mohamed Salah, which has left his future in serious doubt. We'll be live to Liverpool shortly as they get ready for tomorrow's Champions League match against Inter Milan. But let's start by reminding ourselves what exactly Salah said after the Leeds game.
Very disappointed. I'm very, very disappointed, to be fair. I have done so much for this club. Everybody can see that during the years and especially last season. Sitting on the bench, I don't know why. Seems like the club is throwing me under the bus. That's how I feel it. I think it's very clear that someone wants me to get all the blame. The club promised me in the summer for a lot of promises and nothing. So far, I'm in the bench 3 games, so I can't say that they keep the promise. And I said that many times before. I had a good relationship with the manager, and out of the sudden, we don't have any relationship. I don't know why. It seems to me, how I see it, it's someone doesn't want to be in the club. It's not acceptable for me, to be fair. Like, I don't know why that's happening always to me. Like, I don't get it. I don't think I'm the problem. I have done so much for this club.
Wow, incredible stuff, really, isn't it? Well, many of Salah's international teammates have come out supporting him, including his manager as well at Egypt, Hossam Hassan. He posted this picture of the two of them on Instagram with the caption, "Always a symbol of determination and strength." Right, well, that's given us something to get into today, hasn't it?
Wow.
Incredible stuff. We have seen him do this kind of thing before, but maybe not on this level when he goes out and speaks in the mixed zone, where he doesn't have to go out and speak, but he chooses to.
Right.
Is there any way back for Salah after this one?
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously there's definitely a way back. I mean, he's got to get back in the team. I mean, first and foremost, that's got to be his aim. I know he's got AFCON coming up, so, you know, he's going to miss games anyway. But, you know, yeah, I mean, look, there's a way back. I think I'm really disappointed in him, you know, because I think he is on a pedestal of one of the greatest Premier League players ever, ultra professional. You know, he has carried that team for a long time. But, you know, to come out and say what he said, it was just remarkable. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, mate, calm down. You've been dropped for a few games. Like, you haven't performed this season. You know, was there any need to come out and completely blow the whole club into, you know, a massive scrutiny? Everyone's talking about it. It's been everywhere. And I just think, was there any need for him to do that? And
what's he trying to achieve?
Well, I think he's trying to let everyone know that he's not happy. I think what he's trying to achieve is the fact that he says he's been made promises. Well, no one gets promised as a football player that you're going to start every game. Like, that's not a promise that gets made. That's absolute rubbish. You know, so at the end of the day, if you don't perform, you're out of the team. I think what he's trying to get at is he's trying to let everyone know that he's not happy with the manager. He's not happy with the way it's going. You know, and he's not happy that probably one of the greatest players ever at Liverpool is being left out. But, you know, and
is that a way to get back in the team, though? To publicly challenge your manager like that?
No, of course it doesn't. I mean, that never works. I mean, that's never the way to go. But the players now are so powerful, you know, and you know, it used to be back in the day, you know, manager would have his say, manager would do his thing, and you had to accept it, you had to deal with it. Now, players have a voice. Players are more powerful than the manager. And I think Salah probably is a very powerful person at Liverpool. And if he comes out and says something, everyone takes up and listens to what he's got to say. But I think it's a scandalous interview. I think he's bang out of order to saying what he said. You know, the club is struggling at the moment. They need their top players and their leaders to be, you know, united together in turning this club back around and getting them back into winning ways. He talks about having credit in the bank. There's no credit in the bank when you play football. Like, that's the industry. You perform, that's what we're paying you for. He's on 400, 500 grand a week, whatever he's on. You are paid to perform for Liverpool. He hasn't performed this season. Question marks over why he's not performed, whether it's the tactics, the way they play, whether it's because of Trent and miss him. Regardless, you haven't performed. The manager's decided to leave you out. If he wants to leave you out, that's up to him. Deal with it and get yourself back in the team.
But this is quite interesting. Tom, you can read the graphic there. It said, whatever happens in the four walls of the club should stay in there. I demand a public apology from Salah today, or the poster on my wall will be ripped down and will be erased from my memory. Should he publicly apologise?
He ain't gonna. I don't think he'll apologise. No, I don't think he will apologise. I think he said what he thinks. It's come out. Whether he reflects on that interview over the next few days and thinks maybe, you know, he's frustrated after the game, You know, he's not happy being on the bench, and you know, in hindsight, when you're emotional and you're angry, it's probably not the best time to do an interview. That's when you're meant to go home, relax, forget about it, and then go and have a chat with the manager on Monday. Go in there, knock on his door, and say, "I'm not happy." But to come out and tell the whole world, you know, that he's not happy with how he's being treated, and you know, and I sit there and I think, look, there's two ways to look at it. Salah, I get it, he's a superstar and he's not happy. It's poor from him. But then Arne Slot's got to look at it and how do I deal with this situation? And it just creates it almost creates a massive scrutiny for the football club. And now we'll sit here and talk about it, and we know that there's problems there. And that is the last thing that Liverpool need right now. They need to be together, because everyone can see on the outside from the performances and the results, what's going on at Liverpool, it's not going well. He's just confirmed to everyone that there is problems at that football club.
The phrase he used was, "I've been thrown under the bus," right? But do you have a slight sympathy with him when he says, "I've been made a scapegoat"? Because there are other big players who are not playing well in this Liverpool side who haven't been dropped, to the likes of Konate.
Yeah, I mean,
Van Dijk's made some mistakes.
Yeah, Konate has been terrible this season, but they haven't really got anyone to replace him. And I think sometimes, look, Mo Salah, his goals and the way he performs, you know, if he's scoring goals and he's doing things, we've always questioned if he stops scoring goals and he stops getting assists, what's he bringing to the team? Does he track back? Does he work hard? You know, does he fight? Does he tackle? You know, and there's question marks over whether he's done that. Konate, yeah, of course, he's not performed well. I don't know if they've got a replacement for him. Salah, he looked at Arne Slot and thought, maybe I need to take him out of the firing line. You know, I don't think Arne Slot expected him to come out and really hammer him. You know, I don't think Arne Slot expected this. You know, I think he thought, I'm going to take him out of the firing line. He's a professional. He'll deal with it like professionals do, and he'll fight his way back into the team. But after 3 games of being sat out, he's come out and done this explosive interview saying he'd been thrown under the bus. He ain't been thrown under the bus. The manager's decided not to pick you. That's his right. And whether that's right or wrong, ends up with his job. And Arne Slot has to make that decision. But to say you've been thrown under the bus is absolutely disgusting. It's bang out of order from Mo Salah. And I think in reflection, I think they'll look back and think, I got that wrong.
We're going to talk more about his future and you know, potentially whether he could even leave Liverpool in January or in the summer for the next couple of parts. But let's first of all cross to Liverpool, because they're training later this morning ahead of their Champions League game against Inter Milan tomorrow in Milan. Big game that. At the training ground for us right now is Alan Irwin. Salah is there, isn't he, Alan?
Yeah, I think Liverpool fans around the world have been waiting with bated breath for the next instalment of the Mo Salah saga, shall we call it. Well, the next chapter is unfolding this morning, and Mo Salah is here at Liverpool's training ground. He arrived around about 9:30 this morning, drove in and will take his place amongst the other players who are set to train a little bit later on. His manager, Arne Slot, arrived earlier, around about 8:30 this morning here at Liverpool's training complex. And we now know that Mo Salah was here yesterday as well, following that 3-3 draw with Leeds on Saturday night at Elland Road. Mo Salah was required at the training ground yesterday and did have that warm down session here. So whether he's had that one-to-one meeting that maybe some feel is required with manager Arne Slot remains to be seen, but you would imagine that there are going to be words certainly exchanged this morning, or a meeting between the two before the team head out to Italy this afternoon. And as I say, they do have the training session that takes place here at 11:45 this morning, which we are entitled to film around about 15 minutes of it. So it will be interesting to see whether Mo Salah comes out with Arne Slot. Will they show a united front? Will they have settled their differences? Well, all will be unveiled in around about an hour and a half's time.
Alan, just quickly on yesterday when he had to go to training, was the other players there as well? Was it the whole squad after the Leeds game?
Yeah, we're not exactly sure about that, Jamie, because I think, as you will probably know, those that haven't been involved in actually playing any part in the game are generally required for a session the following day. I know some work is done immediately after the game, but there will have been a session that took place here yesterday. It may well have been that those that were involved were given the day off, but certainly they'll all be here today.
Yeah.
And you've already made some very interesting points, Jamie, and it'll be interesting to see what has happened this morning before they take to the training pitch at 11:45.
Alan, how big a test is this for Arne Slot to have to deal with this big and unwanted issue, really, that's come out of the blue?
Yeah, there's been an awful lot of focus on Liverpool this season as champions, as you would expect, and their defence of the title is going horribly wrong, isn't it? You know, losing that many matches already this season, 6 in total, it's just not good enough, really. And I think Liverpool fans now know that the title is already beyond reach, and even Champions League football is now probably the real sole aim. But Arne Slot could do without this, couldn't he? Because it does appear as though his authority has been undermined by the comments that Mo Salah made, and they were explosive comments from one of Liverpool's greatest ever players. You have to say that. He has delivered, but like Jamie said earlier, he is just one of a squad that's been underperforming throughout the course of this season, and Arne Slot as manager is perfectly entitled to leave a player out and have them on the substitutes bench, as any manager is entitled to do so. But to undermine his authority as Mo Salah has, and to say that the relationship was broken down completely, and sources close to Mo Salah believe that Salah does not want to work with Arne Slot at all, and doesn't see a future at Liverpool while Arne Slot is manager. So there are big problems here in that regard, and big problems that Arne Slot could do without, given Liverpool's current situation on the field.
Yeah, Alan, I've got to ask as well. It's going to be so interesting. I can't wait to see Sky do the training session, because they've got a massive Champions League game tomorrow. And if it wasn't for this explosive interview that you've seen from Salah, I probably would have been a no-brainer to start him.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, these 3 games that Salah has been left out of, OK, Liverpool haven't lost any of them, but they've only won 1 and drawn 2. And Salah feels that Liverpool aren't performing any better with him out of the side. And now they go to Inter tomorrow, who are flying high in Serie A. They're top of the league. They've won 4 of their 5 Champions League fixtures so far this season. This is a tough fixture for Liverpool, given their 4-1 defeat in their last Champions League game at home against PSV. Liverpool have got to deliver the goods, and let's face it, they've got to do without most